Hi everyone, my name is Brooke Lund and this is my presentation on the future of social media. So I decided to focus on 4 specific aspects that I felt were the most realistic and the most exciting or relatable to myself. So the first one I want to talk about is virtual reality. I think virtual reality is going to be a huge part of social media in the future. Facebook is investing a lot of money right now into it, according to CNBC, because they think it's going to be huge and it's going to be a way to enhance social situations. I originally wasn't sure about virtual reality and if it would become popular, but back in 2016, Pokemon Go, which is a game app about virtual reality, it became the most downloaded app of all time on its opening weekend, and it was downloaded over 750 million times, generating over $1.2 billion in revenue. So obviously that proved that virtual reality was massively popular, but it seems like it lost its momentum. But I think that's not necessarily because of virtual reality, but maybe because of Pokemon. But I think about how many video games there are that people are completely obsessed with, and they take them to another world and suck them in. And I think virtual reality is going to do just that, but to a whole nother level. In an article by BBC News, Mark Boulos, the creator of Oculus Rift, which is a virtual reality company, said that virtual reality allows us to go beyond the limitations of physical tools to do anything that can be computed. And I think that because of the endless possibilities of what you can do with virtual reality, it's going to be a huge part of the future. In another article called Is There a Future for Virtual Reality? By Simon Erickson, he says, virtual reality could change the entire entertainment industry, but it could also apply to other areas like hospital surgeries, corporate video conferencing, or military simulations, as well as other areas that seem to be a natural fit for it. So there's a show out on Netflix called Black Mirror, and it's an anthology series about kind of the dark side of technology, and each episode shows an aspect of technology and how it's changed and kind of become darker in the future. And while it's primarily kind of more negative towards technology and the internet, it's really interesting. And one episode specifically stuck out about virtual reality. The episode's called Playtest and is about a guy who is a thrill junkie, and he goes in to test a technology advanced video game that's all about virtual reality, and it's actually pretty terrifying. But I just think about that and our future with virtual reality, and in the right hands or wrong hands, virtual reality becoming a huge thing for the future, exciting and maybe scary. So the next aspect of social media and the future that I predict will become a lot bigger is wearables. The Apple Watch was created in 2014 as a way to kind of make people interact a little bit more. They didn't want people looking at their screen so much, and so they created the Apple Watch to kind of keep them on the go. And I think this is going to be a really big part of the future, trying to create things that are to keep people more active and more on the go rather than kind of looking at a screen the whole time. There's the Fitbit, obviously, which is the health and fitness tracker, and then there's the Google Glass, which features a touchscreen, a camera, and a display screen. These are just a couple of examples of how the future has advanced with wearable technology, and I think this advancement is going to extend to rings, maybe more glasses that are maybe a little more slimmer or good looking, and watches also that just allow for data logging and uploading to social media kind of what you're doing. And I think specifically the industry will kind of explode with health tracking. I think that the future is going to be a lot more health conscious than it is today. And I think that will involve fitness trackers and kind of tracking your health, and especially on social media. In an article called Wearable Social Media by Sarah Knight, they pulled up an Instagram and did a hashtag search for Fitbit and found over 1 million results of users promoting their fitness journey. And I think that this is really only the beginning, and that fitness sharing along with social media wearing, maybe regarding fitness like the Fitbit are going to be way more common, and almost everyone will have one, and it will just be kind of a part of your daily life. The article states that wearable technology allows users to share their fitness journey and connect with those in the same area, as well as receiving feedback for doing something good. And I think people really like those two things, like connecting with people that are maybe in the same boat as them, and people like to update people on kind of how they're doing, if they're losing weight. And so with these trackers, it's kind of a good way to get through to that. The next area that I was interested in was esports, which I had never really heard of this or known this was a thing until I read the article by TechCrunch that predicted esports would get way bigger and even hold stadiums of people cheering on their favorite e-athlete. And I'm a sports fan, but this sounded a little strange, and so I did some research on it. And from an article by BBC News, Peter Guber, the co-owner of the Golden State Warriors and LA Dodgers, said that esports audience plays the games, making them not only participants, but passengers. It makes it easier to fill up stadiums in just 20 minutes for championships, and venues have been really excited about getting to host these events. The thing about esports is it hasn't plateaued when somebody goes off to college or when they graduate from college. It just gets bigger and bigger. So the market is really wide, and the observers can kind of watch on their phones, their laptops, their TV. It kind of encompasses all aspects of the media, and so it fits right into the sweet spot of getting everything. It's also world-based. It's in Asia, in Europe, in America, and you don't need to be athletic to play. So I think those are all great reasons for why esports is going to get huge. In an article by Forbes, by Simon Constable, they say that the esports audience will increase to 385 million people in 2017, and they estimate that the revenues from esports will grow from 130 million in 2012 to 696 million this year in 2017. So esports is clearly a really fast-growing market that is predicted to have mass numbers in the future. I mean, I personally have never been into video games or watching other people play video games, but I think this sounds like a really cool way to kind of get people involved and get people interacting with each other and kind of getting excited about something that they can kind of join in. So the final area that I kind of wanted to just touch on really briefly was social media and the impact of relationships in the future. In an article by Forbes, I found it interesting that 60% of millennials consider online dating as a great way to meet people today. And yet 54% of them believe that other people on the internet share fake information about themselves, and they believe that people don't really meet up to their expectations. And so this is kind of my fear for the future of social media, is that people will kind of build these expectations for other people because of this pressure there is to kind of put up a perfect account and have a big following that doesn't necessarily maybe show the real you at all. But the article also talks about jealousy and competition that can come from social media. It says that 42% of social media users admit to feeling jealous when a friend's post receives more likes than theirs. And so I think in the future, this online status could just get more and more competitive and fake. So like with influencers and bloggers getting special treatment for having a good following. I go back to this Black Mirror TV show because there's an episode called Nosedive, which is about a society where your status is determined by how other people perceive you, and they rate you and give you points on how you look that day, what their interactions with you are like, what you're posting, and so this rating will kind of indicate how special your treatment is. So the picture on there shows this girl whose her rating is 4.2 out of 5, and And so obviously I don't think the future will involve stuff like that, but I do think it's close, and it could be close to that in the years 2020 or 2025. But I really do like social media, and I think that in the future years people will really benefit from it. It's a great way for people to meet. In a study by Pew Research Center, 85% of respondents answered that in the year 2020, the internet and social media, they believe, will have been a positive force on their social world. And so, despite all the negative that can come, I think that the future really is exciting with social media through the growth of businesses, social interactions and relationships, even politics and getting people involved and keeping people informed. I think overall, it's exciting. So just to briefly conclude, I think that with all these technology advances, I think the future is bright and there's a lot to be excited about. And it's exciting that we have so much knowledge that we can do these things with technology and with social media. And I just hope that for the future that we can keep people active and we can keep people social, and that these advances in the future of social media don't take away from people getting out and hanging out with friends and being active. Yeah, thanks for watching.